I want to introduce Kim, who's going to be talking about pricing what you're worth.
All right, thanks, Matt. Hi, everybody, and thanks for spending time with us. I have Brett and Mark with me too here in the presentation. So we're here for questions as we go through this. Pricing is such a hot topic, and we are very happy to share what we've learned about it. We're not experts at all, but we've done a ton of research and learning, and we're open to your ideas and your feedback too. So we thought we'd share. And I often go to presentations or read about pricing strategies, and they scramble my brain. So I hope I scramble your brain a little bit today just to get you thinking about pricing. So you're definitely, pricing your own services and offering for what you're worth. So I wanted to open with a quote from Warren Buffett. I personally have felt this way, that if you've got the power to raise prices without losing your business to a competitor, that's awesome. You've got a great business. But if you have to have a prayer session before raising the price by a tenth of a cent, then you have a terrible business. And Warren says he's been in both situations and he knows the difference. And I know a lot of us feel that way too. It's really scary to think about raising prices and what that will do to our current customer base. But we're going to talk about a lot of different ways to think about that and how to really grow your business through managing your pricing strategy. And like I said, none of us are experts. We've learned all of this the hard way. And a lot of the information we're talking about today is taken from these 4 sources. And I believe tomorrow, based on your comments, we're giving away some of these books. They're all amazing books full of incredible information and case studies. So if you have a particular part of our talk today that you're like, I'd love to learn more about that, and you share that comment or question, I can tell you which book it was from if you're not sure which one to grab first, but they're all amazing resources. So I just wanted to set the stage for our pricing discussion today because I've done collaborative pricing talk with other business owners for a couple years now, or a few years. And today's talk is very different, than what the talk was in like 2018 or early 2019. And there's some things impacting our pricing right now. And I'm going to touch on inflation, labor, and supply chain, just to level set and get us all thinking the same way about what we have to consider for our pricing strategy today. So inflation is real. We know that, we're feeling it. It's more and more in the news now, and it has an impact on our businesses, a major impact. It's always been there. We can see it over time. I pulled this graphic over a cup of coffee. It's very relatable, but it's sharply increasing now. And so the gradual increases we can kind of absorb and feel, but these sharp increases are really impacting not only us, but our employees and definitely our customer base. So currently our inflation rate is 7%. And with the way pricing is going up now and the way labor is not maybe going up as fast as pricing, we're feeling more of a 20% inflation rate. So the real feel is closer to 20%. So this has a big impact on all of us. The other thing, second part of what we need to consider is the labor shortage. And, we don't want to think about this or admit it, but it's permanent. It's not going away anytime soon. And it is definitely impacting all of our businesses. What I just learned recently is that we hit a major slowdown in 2019 because we ran out of workers. I didn't realize that because it was masked by the pandemic. So this issue, really started a few years prior. Then in 2020, the workforce declined, just not enough people to fill the jobs. On top of it, the reason we hit this slowdown in 2019 is the birth rate isn't keeping up with the job openings. So this isn't something that next year we're going to come out of. This is something that we're going to be dealing with for a long time. 2021, sharp decline in the workforce. So where does that put us today? We just can't keep up. We have 10.6 million job openings, 6.3 million people on unemployment, and most of those people, people would say are unemployable. Like they're just not ready, willing, and able to work. Even if they did all work, you can see the deficit of over 4 million people. So we have a serious labor shortage, and that is causing us as business owners to really go hand-to-hand combat to get and keep good labor. And so I know you all feel this, but the cost of labor is rising because of this, because it's such a competitive environment. And we have to keep this front of mind when we're thinking about our pricing strategies. And then I could have picked one of a million of these pictures on the internet. We've seen these on the news, these containers getting backed up, but the reality is that the supply issues are not ending anytime soon. So again, as business owners, this is something we have to deal with and factor in to how we're pricing our goods and services in the business. So I wanted to share with you pricing errors, what gets us in trouble. And again, a lot of these we've learned the hard way. So feel free to ask questions or comment if you want more information. And then we'll kind of move into some strategies or stuff that we found as a company has worked well for us. So the first error is really pricing bias. And I put this first because I feel it's the biggest and most frequent one. And it's really the concept of being influenced by elements other than really the value of the item itself or the service itself. And I'd like to call it a limiting belief, where I am not using the right information to come up with my pricing. And I have these limiting beliefs like, I could never get that amount in this current environment, or I could I could never charge more than this competitor, or I could never go over that 199 threshold. Those are pricing biases and definitely limiting, and really we have to be aware of them, but they don't have a place in a healthy pricing strategy. You can see in my graphic here, the example of, I'm going to buy this stock, it must be good because it's expensive and the price is going up. And there's not a lot of really good data behind that. So that's an example of a pricing bias. So, and it's an error and something to be aware of. Another one big, I have these ranked in order. These are the top two. I used to do this all the time, and I don't know, like you can kind of put something in the comments. If you had your cost times some markup, cost times 2, cost times 2.5, cost times 3. So basically using a cost plus mindset. And that is not a solid pricing strategy for growth. And we'll talk about what to do instead of that. But that's something, if you're doing that, just be aware, okay, yeah, I do this, and listen to some other ideas to consider outside of a cost plus. One price for everyone. So I love this story. This is Robert Crandall, the former CEO of American Airlines. And he talks a lot about pricing. And I know anybody who's flown, who's listening, you understand about all the different ways the airlines price their stuff, velocity pricing, early bird. And he made this famous quote about pricing, if he has 2,000 customers on a given route and 400 different prices for seats on that route, that he is short 1,600 prices. And I love this quote because the lesson is there are so many opportunities within our business to price for different situations and different scenarios, and open ourselves up to not only open ourselves up to more customers, but open ourselves up to more profit by understanding what the market will bear. So an error would be one price for everyone. Failing to price in inefficiency due to supply chain issues. This is different. I've never had to really talk about this before. So this would be you know, when you are ordering stuff and it's not coming in a timely manner, and now you're running to your local hardware store, or you're co-renting, or all the other crazy stuff we're doing so the customer doesn't know we have those issues behind the scenes, we have to really track that and think about that, and think about the scenarios and the products that happens on, and include that in our pricing strategy. You know, how many times do I have to co-rent something or pick up something locally because I can't get it from the supplier I was used to getting it from? So that's something that's new, and that's something we all have to think about right now. How do we price in the inefficiency that the supply chain is causing?
Air freight's another thing, Kim. Lots.
Air freight,
Air
thank you.
freight.
Yeah, excellent
Millions
example.
of dollars in our case.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, it's an excellent example. So, and I know you guys know what that is. Even in your own version of that, like having to expedite a job because something came in late, you know, so now your crew is working overtime or in an expedited way. So that's a really good point. Another error, and I'm just going to share this with you as you're thinking about pricing, is incorrectly equating a volume increase to a price increase. So a lot of times, I know when we're talking about what our goals are and how we can grow parts of the business, you know, there's a couple ways we can do it. We can increase our volume, or how many people we sell to. We can increase the price, our price, to more adequately cover our costs and sell to our existing customers. We can do it either way. A good plan for growth does both. A good plan will get new customers. I want to acquire new customers, but I also want to stay on top of my pricing. What I wanted to show you, though, just something to think about, is they are not equal. They're not equal strategies. So I just worked up a quick example here. If it costs me $100 to get a new customer, and I sell widgets, you know, at a cost of $200, and I always sold them for $400, and I went to this talk about pricing, and I've decided, you know what, I'm going to raise my price to $500. I can go out and find new customers to advertise my widgets to. So I can sell my widget for $500. I've paid $100 to get that customer. The $200 widget cost, and I've made $200. I've got $500 in sales. But if I offer that to my existing customers, just remember your customer acquisition cost drops off. They already know me, they trust me, they know how the system works. I'm not paying, maybe I'm sending them an email to advertise. I'm not paying Google AdWords or expensive direct mail to get to them. So my customer acquisition drops off. So really, when I've increased my price in this case, all of the increase dropped down to my bottom line. And just the lesson here, and I know these are super simple numbers and your numbers are way more complicated than this, is that raising your price is the easiest way to increase your profit, and most of your price increase goes to the bottom line, to your existing customers. So while you need both, while you have to get new customers and you're always looking, it is important to have systematic price increases. It's an important way to increase your sales and your profit and keep a lot of your profit. Another error is a contract negotiation errors. So if you're looking at, you've put together something for a future job, right now, it's very important that you have some kind of language or out clause. So having a no out clause is an error. And basically, and Brett can share this, like we're seeing things basically saying, if our cost changes within X percent, you know, we have the right to raise this rate, you know, up to 10% because pricing is so volatile now. And so if you're working in a contract situation, big events, something in the future, a lot of suppliers more and more are putting this language in their agreements just to help protect them so they don't end up losing money on the deal or swapping dollars, doing it for no profit. So that's an error we're seeing. And then giving away your expertise is another error. So, a lot of you have been in business for a long time. Some of you are newer, and you bring different kinds of expertise to the table. So thinking about that and pricing that into your offering when you're setting up jobs and you're setting up projects, what is that worth? And can your customer get that from somewhere else? If your customer can't get that 20 years of wedding planning experience or 30 years of rental experience somewhere else, that's your X factor. That's your thing that you do way better than your competition, and it has value. It has value because they can't get it somewhere else. So not giving away expertise. So if you're not valuing that or thinking about that, that could be a pricing error. Okay, did I miss anything, Brett or Mark, on errors?
Yeah, no, great job. With the pricing, I think that's consistently what we see in the field, is that the experienced rental operators just don't value their expertise as they should. And I don't think, and I don't know if you're going to cover this, the price shopping, they need to do price shopping. Is that coming up? Because I don't want to.
Yeah, we'll do that next
So
week.
I'll leave that for you to talk about, but the whole due diligence and getting in there and literally going to your competition and looking and seeing what they're selling or renting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and that, I think what Brett was talking about, right, is we need to have a good understanding, and this is something we always strive to do better, of what's going on in the industry and what will the market bear. So the opposite of, cost plus mindset of pricing would be, well, what will the market bear strategy to pricing? Like what is the market willing to pay for what I do? And we can call this, I've heard it referred to as market thinking. And the good strategy here is, like Brett said, is you have to figure out, what is your competition doing? Where are they? And what will the customer pay? And then after that, do your cost analysis. So when you figure out what people are willing to pay for your service, then kind of back into it and look at your gross profit and your net profit, and then decide, is this product or offering worth it? Don't do it the other way around and then try to force it to fit. Understand first, because you might have some home runs you don't even know about. Because if you think of the pricing error, we talked about bias, where I'm like, I can only get this amount for this inflatable, let's say, and then you do your research and find, oh my gosh, people are paying substantially more, right? So now you're pricing what the market will bear. Then you can do your cost analysis and say, wow, this is a great item for me. This is where I want to put my advertising dollars, because now that I have it priced correctly, this is an awesome home run item for me. So that is important to do your homework and understand that.
And remember, Kim, it's
Yes.
it's a moving target. Okay. Yes. More so over the past 2 years, I'm watching certain things on a weekly basis in some of the items that we're selling, because as a purchaser of items, our costs are fluctuating weekly. So you got to keep your eye on it consistently. What's good 1 week or 1 month may not fit the following month or quarter.
Yeah, that's a really good point, especially now, right? Like you said, everything's so volatile now. So, and then a tip, something we do that you might find value in, is to look at your items, look at your top selling items, and you can even start with your top 10 items. Look at them by profit, by sales and by profit, and you don't have to be fancy with Excel or anything. You can just handwrite this on a piece of paper, but plot them from highest to lowest. and then just look at them yourself, look at them with your team. If you have a team, look at your sales, look at your profit per item, look at your customers, and do it in a waterfall graph, so highest to lowest. And if you're like us and a lot of other companies, you might start to see trends like, you know, this item down here, this low item at the bottom of my waterfall, I'm not making a lot of money on, and it is my biggest headache. I need multiple people to set it up. You know, people are always calling me because something's going wrong with it. And so you start to see trends like that. And it really helps you figure out where, again, your home runs are and what to focus on in your business. And it also helps you to figure out if your profit is rolling down and your biggest headache is at the bottom of the waterfall, this is a good area to look at increasing the price, because there's a lot of unintended cost here that you weren't counting on. It's not like a normal situation. So we'll do waterfall charts on our items. We'll do it on our accounts. You can even do it on sales reps just to see how that's flowing. It's really powerful. And again, you don't have to get fancy with it. I hand write mine out on a notepad. Another great pricing strategy right now, and it's hard for us, it's counterintuitive a little bit for us, is that get all the extra value you can now. So when you price what the market bears, or you find what the market bears, and it's more than what you were charging, right? Pivot and make that adjustment for a couple reasons. One is, you know, customers right now are a little bit all over the place because people don't have supply. They don't have enough supply. So they don't have a current anchor of price relativity. So now is the time to price what the market will bear and get what it's really worth. And also keep in mind, your inventory now, you're going to replace at the future price. And you don't know what the future price is going to be. With the way things are going, we just don't know how inflation and supply chain is going to go. So you have to get everything the market will bear now to protect you for the future and the future replacement of all the items in your business. So take everything that the market will bear now that's there for you, and think ahead, think ahead about replacing your equipment in the future. The other concept, as Robert Crandall said, one price doesn't fit all. So explore concepts, early bird pricing for early bookings, velocity pricing when you're low on an item or somebody's doing a last, minute project, VIP pricing for your, awesome customers who you retain season after season. Value-based pricing. This is great too. Look at your items that you have, and I know McDonald's is definitely the master at bundling. What can you bundle with all of your offerings that have a high perceived value but a low cost for you, and then you price that bundle accordingly. So this value added pricing is a great healthy strategy to have, and time to think about, I can have just the tent, right? Or I can have the tent priced with the sidewalls, and I have to understand what the market will bear for the sidewalls or what that perceived value is. And then I'm giving a deal for that, bundling it with the tent, but I'm still making out because the cost is a good cost for me. So bundling is a great strategy. Good, better, best. Good, better, best is a very powerful psychological strategy to put together different offerings in your business. And I'm sure you guys know the answer to this, but when you have a good, a better, and a best offering, psychologically, do you know where you're driving customers to, which package they're most likely to buy? So do you guys know? Colleen, do you know? I don't know if you guys want to guess. When you do a good, better, best, you're driving customers to the better option, and then probably also up to
That is what I was gonna get.
You were gonna say better? Okay,
yeah. I couldn't unmute in time.
Yeah, you're driving them to the middle option. So have that, have just your tent, and then you can have your better option would be your tent, tables, and chairs. And then your best could be your tent, tables, chairs, sidewalls, a fun food. And you have those three options. And when you market them to customers, the eye automatically goes to the middle. And they're drawn to that because, people like good, but everybody likes better. And then, of course, you'll have your people who can afford the best. It's a really powerful strategy. I know you see it everywhere. There's all kinds of versions of it. So it's just a great pricing strategy. And then we have a pro tip to share with you that we learned in a sales training, and it has to do with pricing as well. And the psychology behind it is this was around selling cars, but you can use this in our industry as well. And they took two teams, and one team took a vehicle completely stripped down, and it hit the price point. It was like the cheapest in the industry. And they said, you can add anything you want on it. It's completely flexible. We'll build it any way you want, completely customizable. You tell me, what you want to add on, and we'll make it the exact way you want. The other team took the completely loaded version of the same vehicle, every bell and whistle, and said the same thing. You can have this any way you want. Tell me what you want. We'll take off any option that doesn't fit your needs and get it to the exact way you want. And then they compared the sales for the two teams. And I don't know if you can guess this, but the team who started with the loaded option did so much better to the team who started with the stripped down option. And the reason being is psychologically, we don't like stuff taken away from us. So when you're doing your pricing strategies and you're doing your bundles, if you have an opportunity to start with the loaded package, it's a great place to start because the psychology behind it, nobody likes you to take stuff away, especially the really cool stuff. And so while they might let you take a little bit away, they're probably not going to let you take it all away. And it helps with our average ticket, and it helps, increase our sales that way. So that was something we learned at a sales training we attended, and I wanted to share that with everyone. So scheduling regular price increases it's healthy and it's necessary for a bunch of reasons. One of the reasons is if you don't do it and something happens like a pandemic or a supply shortage, and now you have to adjust just to be healthy again, you want to avoid having to adjust 20 or 30%. If you're doing regular scheduled, at least annually, if not more, now it's a little bit more, looking at your pricing and a price increase, you're in a healthier position with your margin, and you can pivot with those market changes. And people are so afraid to do the price increases. And so I'm going to share with you, and this is my last piece of info to share before we open it up to a discussion. This is like one of the best things anybody ever asked me when I said, I was working with somebody in the plastics industry, and it's such a commodity industry. And we were talking about people would drop me for a nickel. I can't raise my price. I'm so afraid. And somebody said, do you get a drink? Like, do you go to a coffee house or get a drink every day? And I was like, yeah, I get like a green tea, an iced green tea, a venti iced green tea. And they said, what is the cost of your daily drink? And I did not know. And so then they asked the room, what is the cost of your daily drink? And a few people out of maybe 40 raised their hands, and nobody knew. And it was such a powerful message for me that I was so afraid about pricing. But the reality is, if I have something that people want and the value is there, the pricing isn't as big of an issue as I thought. So I had no idea what it was. So when somebody asked me that, I found out that my venti green tea was $3.15. And then every time I do this talk with colleagues or we have a pricing talk, I look it up again. And this is from 2019 to today. This is what's happening with the price, $3.30, $3.50. 360. And today I looked it up for all of you. My venti green tea is 375. So what Starbucks has done is, since like 2018, I think was the first time I looked, is they've increased me 10, 15 cents at a time. And I'm still buying that drink a couple times a week. So systematic increases, looking at your pricing and what the market will bear and doing it in smaller steps, it's just way healthier and better for you and your customer than, you know, if they went from 315 to 375, which is probably what they have to do now for maybe some of their supply chain issues. So I hope that that was helpful. It's all of the stuff we talk about as business owners, and we're so grateful for you as customers and as colleagues that we'd love your, you know, your comments or your questions now. And I'll also open it up to Brett and Mark, you know, to share any of your thoughts, because this is something we talk about all the time.
Great job.
So we don't, excuse me, we don't have a ton of questions in the comments yet.
Yep.
But we did have Mike ask us, you know, are we going to learn how much to charge for a castle bounce house? And that could seem like a really simple question. I think everything that you've covered kind of explains why it's not such a simple question. But do you guys want to try to answer it?
Mike, I think what you want to do is do your due diligence in your area, figure out who your competition is and what their delivery zone is. If it's possible to see the type of inventory they have, the condition, the age, so you can size up, look at any of their history, Better Business Bureau type history, what type of company they are, so you're comparing like kind of quality. You don't want to ever be that three-legged table where you're trying to offer the best service, the best price, and the best quality, because typically something's going to fall and then your table only has two legs and it won't stand. But you got to do that first. You've got to do your due diligence. You have to know who your competition is, and then you want to identify what makes you better. Is your inventory cleaner? Is it newer? Do you offer a longer rental period, more on-time delivery, and so forth? So I hope that helps.
Thank you, sir. That was very helpful. Chastity has a good one. You guys, I know that you guys are all going to like this one. Do you have suggestions on pricing for friends and family, or how to handle that when several people ask for discounts? And Chastity, I'll say real quick, we operate a rental business as well, you know, in a very busy part of the city of Buffalo, and we would get tons of discount requests, and we would try to help people as often as we could, but there was a set and limited amount that we would help people, and it wasn't like you're going to do the full discount, right? I can help you with this if you guys are going to get this. You want to be helpful, but you can't give away the store. But let's see what these guys say.
I'll add a little, and then I know Brett will add more to this, but a couple of things that Brett and Mark have taught me is, you know, remember, we just talked about customer acquisition, so that you don't have that cost of acquisition when you're working with friends and family. So you might have a little bit of wiggle room there. But also, there's more that people can do to advance your business outside of payment. So, you know, putting an offering together that, yes, you can do this discount, but in return, like getting photos, right? Photos of your items in action, a social media post or share a video. So having that together, like together in an offering, like, yes, I can do a discount. Here's how you can get it. Here's the things that I need you to do that will help me grow my business too. And then I'm happy to help you. That's something that I've learned from being around, you know, Brett and Mark, and then we can help each other out. I'll let you guys add on to that.
Those are
And,
definitely,
yeah.
Go ahead, Mark.
Well, the other thing too is, you know, we have a lot of community people asking us for discounts, a lot of very good organizations. Over the years, we've chosen one organization each year that we might provide a discount or provide something special to. Okay. we will give out gift certificates. You know, if it's a block club, if it's a church, if it's somebody that is already going to be renting an item from us, we'll offer them a gift certificate or maybe a discount on an add-on. So if they were renting a bounce house and a slide from us, we might give them a fun food machine at a discount or give them a little bit more added value. So we're still preserving the rental and the rental rate and trying to give something back on top of what they would have normally paid for.
So family, friends, neighbors, what does your inventory look like? Do you have an endless supply of rental inventory? If you do, you're probably more flexible on giving somebody a discount because maybe you don't have 100% utilization on your inventory. Are you geographically located somewhere that you have a seasonal business? Like we're in Western New York, so our rental stores, you know, they, best case, and I'm not kidding around here, I'm party rental, best case, we might have rentals Memorial Day, a little past Labor Day. Halloween, which is big for many parts of the country, is very minimal for us. So those are big factors. What does your inventory look like? What's your season look like? Because how can you be giving huge discounts to family, friends, and neighbors on inventory that you have a very compressed season to turn that inventory over? So you have to be concerned about that. And as Kim pointed out, I think it's excellent when you have someone that wants to help you out and they're going to give you 5-star positive feedback on a Google review, and they're going to supply you pictures for your website and pictures to put on Google and video for your website. You know, that's almost the value of a free rental. And I mean, I'm talking a $500 rental. We spend thousands on pictures and video for content. So those are, you know, some real good things to consider. I mean, if somebody's willing to give all that back and give you the feedback, give you the pictures, take care of the equipment, how are they going to take care of it? Are they going to pick it up? Are they going to clean it? Are they going to return it that it's ready to rent? So you've got to have all these negotiations in place, right? If they want you to deliver it, set it up, they're not willing to do anything for you. And, you know, then you got to come pick it up and maybe they want additional time. You know, how much of a discount are you willing to give somebody on that? And then again,
I was going to say something else too, Brett. You taught me, we've all been together 20 years as we've done back to school parties for the kids, for my own kids, and is being flexible to the day of the week. So our back to school parties were on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, you know. And so,
thunder, but go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay,
We'll
no,
talk
you
about
finish up. So we kind of got used to doing that, right? And so it didn't hurt the business for the weekend rentals, but we got used to doing that and telling friends and neighbors, you know, we can't do that on Saturday, but if you're open, you know, and flexible to a Tuesday or Wednesday event, you know, then we could do something. And they have to give you pictures and video on top of it. But go ahead, Brett, sorry.
No, that was wrapping it up. I mean, that, and I hope we answered your question. If we didn't, you know, please type in more specifics and we can try again.
I think you guys did a great job. I that's when you said the thing about the different day of the week, Kevin, I remember that. You know what I mean? If it's a day that it's not going to go out and make money anyway, you're much more likely to get a donation or a discount than otherwise. So awesome.
And labor. In this day and age when labor is hard and labor is a shortage, we have a very good fathers group in Buffalo, okay? And the organizer of that group will call upon us to say, hey, I need tables, I need chairs, I need a tent, I might need something. He'll come, he'll pick it up, he will install it, okay, he'll clean it, he'll bring it back, and then when we need help cleaning a slide, possibly unloading a truck, or we might have a large event where we need help, okay, he will now provide us with conscientious, hardworking individuals. So, you know, it's kind of a donation, but a trade-off. And over the past couple of years, Brett, how valuable has that relationship been to us?
It's definitely huge. I mean, we'll get them, you know, it's all volunteer based. We've had them bring as much as 30 people to an event to help us. So yeah, that's a great point, Mark. Thank you.
I'm glad you guys said that, because our kind of whole theme for this show is community and giving back to the community. And we are blessed in the city of Buffalo and the Bailey store to have a really great community. John Iorio, this is kind of a comment, kind of a question. So he says one of his biggest issues is when he rents to other companies, other rental companies, and he sees that they're charging more money for his stuff than he charges his customers. But yet he still kind of feels like I don't feel I can get the same price. So what do you guys say about that?
Yeah, what is the condition of their equipment? How do they return it back to you? Why are they co-renting? It sounds like there's a market supply shortage, and I feel like there's room for you to raise your prices. So I would be doing some due diligence out there to see what the market bears. How are you discounting them? I mean, we're seeing in our industry, in our part of the country, up to a 50% discount off the value of the rental item for the re-renter. So if a table rented for $10, you're renting that to your co-rental company for $5, and I'm hearing that you're probably seeing that they charge $12 for it. So you have room to grow, and I'm sure you are doing the co-rental because there's probably times that you need them. So yeah, it's an interesting situation to be in there, but it sounds like you have room for some price checks, some due diligence, and some price increasing.
Yeah, it could be a pricing bias, and those are tricky because they're emotional for us. Those beliefs of what we think we can get for something. So you can map that out with your group too, and just, you know, try to brainstorm, why are they getting one price and you're getting another? Like Brett said, what is the difference? And is it really just a pricing bias where it's just something like you said, Brett said, you know, raise your price and try it, because that restriction isn't real. It's something that's more emotional, and that happens to all of us.
But now really, Kim, I mean, price, I don't want to say it should be automatic, but do your due diligence. There's got to be room for price growth, because if you haven't raised your prices since, you know, March of 2020, when we were taking a 2-week pause, you need to reevaluate because you're leaving dollars on the table. There's just not enough supply to get anything done today, right? I mean, look at the shelves in the stores. They don't have the labor to stock the shelves to meet the demand of the customers. And the sad part is many of the stores actually have the inventory in their back room. They just don't have the human capital to pull the inventory out of the back room and put it on the shelves to sell. So they're taking a hit on their ability to do business. So definitely look at adjusting your prices. Look at the cost of gas. You know, I don't know what you've done. If you guys are all out there doing deliveries, I hope you're putting on a fuel surcharge or a delivery surcharge, because, well, you should have raised your delivery rates, but even on top of your delivery rates, you've got to have a surcharge, 5 to 10% of the value of the delivery for fuel. Any other questions, Colleen?
I do have one more, but yeah, great stuff, guys. And just to add to what you're saying, you're going to find right away whether or not you're going to get any serious resistance on that price increase, and you're probably going to find you won't. So we do have another question from Kyle. what would be your recommendation to having multiple rates for different types of events / customers, but also displaying pricing for instant online bookings? So earlier, Kim, you said one price does not fit all, but as we know, people also want the convenience of being able to book online. So how do you kind of balance those two things?
Yeah, I'll share a little, and then I know Brett probably has more to share. Like online, we do things with our, you can do things with the VIP pricing, and you can have different prices shown for different customers. You can also change pricing through customer codes. So typically your forward facing pricing is what your market will bear pricing, your regular everyday price. Then if you want to adjust anything off of that, then you can do that through like a VIP program or custom code or something along those lines. That's how I would do it on the website. And then Brett, what would you add on to that?
It's tricky, right? Because number one, one thing, a big thing for me is, do you offer customer pickup? Because if you have a facility that you're able to do that, that's the first place I would go. If you have a good amount of inventory, let the customers come and pick the inventory up and do all the heavy lifting and the hard work, and you guys just receive it back on a timely basis, check it in, make sure it's clean and ready for the next rental. It's tough when you post your online prices. Are you stuck? Well, how many rules are you going to have with that online pricing? I mean, is it includes curbside delivery? Is it full setup in the yard? What else is possibly included in that charge? I'm not sure how your particular business operates, but
it's challenging, Brett, because I'll tell you, I used to coordinate all the deliveries. I used to have to call all the customers. Even if somebody booked online, I still had to probably put as much time into calling that customer, going over the details of what their order was, finding out the special instructions, setting up the delivery. So, unlike maybe saving 5% of booking online with a car or an airline, there's a lot more moving parts to what we do, because you're still going to have to contact that customer. So that might be an area where book online and have a little bit of added value, but I don't know how much I would discount, because you're still going to have to hook up with that customer, do the same amount of details. And once you have them on the phone, there's a good possibility you'll spend almost as much time with them on the phone going over that order as you would have taken the initial phone call, because people like to change things around. I've just found that was what my experience was, and it will vary from area to area.
But I can speak to Mark. I can speak to that for sure. That absolutely. So you get the order online, they pay their deposit online. The first thing you're going to do is call and follow up. First of all, you need to get, like you said, the details about the delivery. If it's going to be a timed delivery, or there's something else that they were unable to indicate in the online booking, you're going to make sure that you're billing them accurately for that at that point. That's also your opportunity for the upsell. So online booking is awesome, and you should post your fair regular prices online and allow people to book at that price and make a deposit, but you should also have something in there that explains that your final price is going to be, determined based on your delivery needs and whatever else, work it out based on your business and how you handle things. But you're going to finalize that price on that phone call, hopefully.
Yeah.
Colleen, that's what I was going to say. For your price might include, this is for a basic installation, and again, I don't know if you have mileage charges or how you're.
That was your next question, sir, is what's a good mileage rate?
Yeah, so $3 a mile.
Okay, Mike, that was an easy one.
If you're doing basic installation, and you state that in there, basic installation, that leaves the door open, you know, and I'm not trying to do a bait and switch with a customer, but I'm just, you know, you're putting out a bounce house at a competitive price delivered. I don't know what that is in your marketplace, $150, $200, not really sure. You know, some customers I talk to in different parts of the country, they say they can't get $75. And I said, well, don't rent bounce houses on delivered, make customers.
Not with delivery, heck no.
But that, I'm told that happens in some markets, but the point is that, you know, basic installation, that would be, you know, basic installation, delivery within, you know, 5 miles from your, wherever your warehouse is, or your store is, or your delivery facility.
I would say too, on the using the website, like if your customer, you guys had mentioned this, if your customers can pick up, that can be a little bit different pricing structure, but can you use the website to stretch the week out? So can the website advertise, you know, a different type of pricing for a Tuesday or Wednesday rental versus your peak pricing on the weekend? And use it that way to try to stretch it out. Maybe they get, you know, 5 or 10% off, or it's some kind of different rate, or they get a bundled item for a Tuesday or Wednesday, and see if you can get more mileage so your inventory isn't sitting. You can
So
try that too.
we would always try, Kim, to give them, you know, give them a free popcorn machine rental, or give them
Yes,
a free cotton candy
that.
machine rental. They would have to buy the supplies, so we would get the adder on the supplies, but a lot of moms are like, oh, that's great, I'm getting this bounce house, or I'm getting this slide. And we weren't giving any margin away on the ticket. We maintained the $300 or $400 ticket, maybe added a little to it because they bought the supplies, and everybody was happy. So that would be our kind of midweek rental specials, where we're giving them a little extra something, or we're giving them a cheap toss game, whether it was a twister style frame game, or, you know, that was before the time that we made the inflatable toss games, but, you know, we had the wood games and things of that nature, though. That's very effective too.
And the other thing that's important about pricing is having your expectation too of how long a job takes, how many people it's going to take to perform that job, sitting down, mapping out a route. You know, for me, a 20 by 20 tent, tables and chairs was a half hour. Okay, a 20 by 30 was 45 minutes. A 20 by 40 was an hour. And I would build my routes and build my trucks on that, because regardless of what my pricing was, if I could not get that job done in an efficient, effective way for it to be profitable, the price I charged didn't mean anything. So when I would look at something and I'd look at my map and I'd look at my time, and the guys would come back and they were like, yeah, but she wanted us to set the tables and chairs up, or we got there and there was still tablecloths and the bounce house was still inflated and there were kids in it and we felt bad and you know, those are a lot of the rules and expectations that have to be set up front when you're pricing and what's included. You know, a tent, table, and chair. The tables and chairs were stacked underneath the tent. They were expected to be broken down in the same fashion when we picked it up. Sidewalls were dropped off. They weren't necessarily hung. So there were all those things that, even though the pricing might have been higher or at a good spot, I'd look at a job and say, wow, that didn't work. So it's not only the pricing, it's the efficiency of what goes into that price and how it all pans out.
And all that stuff that Mark just listed off, it's important to not just say that to your customer, but to have it somewhere in writing, those expectations. Well, guys, I think we're just about done here on questions. I don't know if there's anything else that you guys just want to add. If not, we can wrap up, but I'll give you guys a second here.
I'm good. I really appreciate everybody's participation here. Kim, Mark, Colleen, Matt, Melissa, you guys all did a great job. I hope I didn't miss anyone.
No, I want to add something. Happy birthday, Melissa. She won't like me to embarrass her, but it is her birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy
Melissa.
birthday, Melissa.
I sang happy birthday to her today.
You did.
No, we're not going to sing on here, but
Where would you rather be, Melissa, right? Where would you
I
rather
told
be
her
than
to
on
go have
Facebook
dinner.
Live?
This is what I dreamed of.
Oh,
all right, well, on that note, guys, we'll wrap it up. The replay will be posted. If you missed yesterday, that one's posted as well. And tomorrow, Mr. Begley and Mr. Slater will be right in the spotlight. So join us for that one. Matt, what time?
That's at 2 p.m. tomorrow.
All right, we'll see you guys then.